What are you doing? You're staying in. You guys want to eat? Okay. There you go. Good morning. We got the next video in the Mercedes-Benz diesel wagon 300 TD 1983. This video, we are going to be tackling the gorgeous paint. Oh yeah, let me tell you. When I say gorgeous, that is an exaggeration. So, I do not think that there is a clear coat on this car from factory. I could be wrong. I'm not a detail paint body shop guy. But I'm learning. I'm trying to do my best to do it myself. There's definitely primer. You know, it's worn through. It's a good looking patina in my opinion. I mean, I'm not getting it repainted. Not right now, I'm not. So we're just gonna try and preserve what we got for now and see if we can make it last and not get surface rust as long as we can. What I did yesterday, like for example, here's on the roof, there was some surface rust right there. I just took 4/0 steel wool and I just what are you doing, thing? There's a bunch of imperfections. Like here's a good one. So this was full-blown, you know, rust, you know, crusty rust. I just did a 4/0 steel wool on there where I did the body work and repainted it. Like you can see, there's some of that sanding I did right there. But anyway, this is all repainted right here. This was all, Sherman, you are just in the shot. This was all repainted. And what I did was, at first, on this one, I tried doing wet sanding. I first used 1500 wet sandpaper, and then I went to 2000, then the Trizac 3M 3000, and then 5000, okay? Well, I sanded through the top coats. I only did 2 top coats. So for this one, when I sanded through on that side, I used the same amount of paint over here. So what I did was I just used that Trizac 3000 and wet sanded it with some soapy water, and then I wet sanded it with 5000, and it's really smooth now, so it's nice. So that's what I did, just to kind of give you guys an update, and I did that on the other side as well. I've never done that before. I never wet sanded paint, and again, there's no clear coat on that. So here's another interesting thing I got going on. I don't see any clear coat on the body of the car at all, except for on the rear hatch. So I don't know if this was repainted, a different hatch, or what, but it's gonna act differently for what I want to do for when I buff this. So I'm actually gonna start by buffing the rear hatch. I'm probably gonna burn through some of this paint because when I was using that 4/0 steel wool, I mean, I burned right through it. It is some thin paint. And there's no clear coat, so it just wears right through. This is what we got for the buffing, polishing situation. So I bought some of this 3M tape. So this is the 3M, and I think the part number is 388N as in November. I guess it's for trim. Tape off all of the trim so that you don't get any rubbing compound for when you polish. Bought a Harbor Freight 6-inch polisher. There's your specs, 2000 to 6400 OPM, which everybody here knows that's supposed to be RPM. Glass cleaner. I'm gonna use this just to clean the car because there's dust and cat hair.
Here he is.
Keeping it real. You're a deterrent. This is a dual action DA polisher, by the way. I got the coarse pads from Harbor Freight. And then I got Meguiar's 105. I'm gonna try that, which is the heavier cut. For the mini spots, I got the coarse foam kit from Harbor Freight as well to put on a drill. And then after that is the fine pad with Meguiar's 205, which is more of a polish instead of a compound. And then there's the pad for that. So I got the glass cleaner. You can see there's rust holes here and here. Must be where the water is inside of the rear hatch and has rusted its way through, and that's where it's leaking. But anyway, we're just gonna ignore that. That's for a different day. Spray away glass cleaner, and we're just doing the whole rear hatch. Okay.
Tank in the sun. Actually is in pretty good shape because of the clear coat. Like, it's smooth.
compared to the rest of the car. This is the Ultra Cut Compound 105 with the coarse pad. But you can always add more. Probably need a little bit more for that. I'm trying to learn this. I'm not trying to totally ruin this, so I don't know how much to do it. Give it a test. But it's actually in pretty good shape, like in general. Just, you know, it's in good shape as it is.
Yeah, it's a little smoother.
I'm just gonna do everything on this test panel first before I know that's what I want to do. So now I got the finer pad for finer polishing and the Meguiar's 205 polish. So I'm gonna turn this all the way down. It was running at 3.5. But it's pretty good. It's pretty clear, really. It's just a little bit smoother, that's all. So this is most likely going to be very hard to catch on camera, but there are a ton of little micro scratches like going in this direction on this portion of the panel. And I don't know if it was washed, whatever. It doesn't really matter, but this one has not been buffed. So it gives you kind of an idea. Now on this side, that has been polished and used the rubbing compound, all of those little micro scratches are gone. Got all of the compound completed and also the polish. So both steps are done on the rear hatch completely. And now I just want to finish up the rear hatch. So I'm going to use a little bit of Caranubo like liquid wax. Wax on, all wax off. That's the next step. So I'm going to do that so I can just get this rear hatch done. Just applied the wax, letting it haze up here so I can wax off. The moment we've all been waiting for. Satisfying. I'll tell you what, that tape works really well. I just swept off the roof and now I'm just got the glass cleaner spray away and I'm just cleaning this, right? Just to get it prepped for so that I can polish it. So I just want to show you what this sounds like before there's any product on here. Just the sound, it's like rough, you know? You get the idea. Onto the roof. I'll tell you what, one of the most time-consuming parts of this job is definitely taping. Wow. It's crazy. What do you think, Sherman? Tell me what you think. What do you think, Sherman? Okay. Well, I am not a professional detailer, I'll tell you that. Roof is done. Like, I was trying different things. Right here is the best that I got it. I tried doing all sorts of things. I actually wet sanded this with 3000 and then 5000, but I burned through the top coat with wet sanding right there. But right there, I burned through the top coat with the compound with the coarser pad on the polisher. But you know, there was a lot of, like, this whole area right here, this was all primer. As you can see, it still is. So it was already like that when I bought the car, so I'm not like that concerned. I was kind of just doing a trial and error to see the best way to do it. Like I did like every one of these runners, I did something different just to see. Or I was polishing it and it would just never get shiny. It would just has this black, like the paint residue was just, it was like this gray slime all the time. And I don't know if I was using too much compound. This gives you an idea of this marginal work of getting it polished. Honestly, the main reason why I'm even doing this is to protect it from rust and salt. So I don't even really care, obviously, what it looks like too much because it's already hammered. So we got a weeknight situation working on the Mercedes. I know for you it's about 5 seconds later, but for me it's days later. So gotta start it like it's a whole new video, and it's weird. Anyway, Sherman thinks I'm talking to him. Come here, Sherman. Hi, Sherman. He hears me talking, he comes out. Here's the situation. Factory trim right here on the lower section. Thanks to Greg, you pointed out that this here don't look like factory. As I mentioned before, maybe I didn't, but I didn't even realize it. Just bought the car, whatever. You look past stuff like this, you know, it's not important. What's important is making sure that it'll run and get you home 700 miles. So we're gonna take that off. That's what I got going on. I'm gonna warn you, it's not coming off perfectly pretty, but I mean, this is what we're working with. The rest of the car ain't pretty. So I'd rather not have the trim there. I'm gonna show you how I'm removing the trim itself. And I have one of these plastic scrapers from Harbor Freight. So let's see. Then I pull it and just scrape the piece of the thing. There you go. So heat is your friend in this situation of what it looks like. But I'll warn you, it's not always that pretty. Here's the beginning of the second door. Heat was applied. And then in the beginning of the first door, I don't think I applied heat. I can't remember. This one right here, I know for sure I just popped that one off with no heat at all. Here is what it looks like with the residue from the double-sided tape. And here is the best way that I found to remove it. And I'm not gonna say, it's almost embarrassing to show this because it looks terrible, but it's a lot of it is removed when you feel it. It don't look good. So here's the way I did it. I took that same scraper, got soapy water, sprayed it with soapy water, and just literally scraped it all the way across. It sounds crazy that that's the best way that I found. I tried Goo Gone or Goof Off or whatever it's called. I tried starting fluid because that works with plastic to remove residue. Someone on YouTube said to use WD-40. I tried that. That didn't do anything. Then I tried wet sanding it with 3000. I just started burning through the paint. Then I had like 1500 or 1200 and tried wet sanding just the little areas. I mean, I guess it worked, but it would take me forever. It didn't work very well, and then you just saw exactly where I sanded. It was like, might as well just leave it. So I tried a lot of different things. I'm sure someone in the comments will know better than me, but it'll be too late because by the time this video is posted, she'll have wax on it, hopefully. Okay, I have made the decision to clay bar the whole car. The front door here has not been clay barred and the rear door has. So the best way on YouTube through a camera is just by sound, just to see how rough the paint is. So here you go, here's the difference. And then on the bottom, this is more facing towards the sun, so it's oxidized more, so it didn't, the paint's in worse shape. So down here the paint is in much better shape, so that's why it sounds better. I am clay barring, and I got the whole car done. Last spot is the hood, and I just want to show you how much of this top coat paint is being removed. The paint is in really bad shape. This This is just water. That's what I got going on here. You know, I've used soapy water, I've used the detailing spray, I've used a bunch of stuff. I started using just water and the clay bar seems to not break down as fast. This is, I think, all of the metal flake or the, you know, the ingredients in the silver. It's like polishing metal. It's just like what it's like. If anybody's done that, you get this black gray slurry. And obviously I've said it probably like 6 times, but I'm not gonna say I don't care about this paint job. I care about the car, let's say that. The paint job's just whatever, it's what I'm working with. So I'm just trying to preserve the metal underneath with what I have without repainting it. So there you go. Just wanted to show you how that is. And you know, it's like, okay, what, you know, it doesn't look any different. Well, you're right, it doesn't. But what you can't see is what it feels like after you clay bar it. And I'm hoping that all this oxidation I'm pulling off of here will minimize on the amount of oxidation that goes on the polishing pad. Got a little bit of an update here with the Mercedes. The entire car is clay barred, except for the roof. That is done. That's already my first attempt of waxing and polishing and all that. So now I did a couple tests back here on this panel. I have just clay bar, then I did both the compound and the polish, then on this one I just did the polish, and then this was a different type of product polish type. And I'm pretty happy with the compound and polish both together, which makes sense. So now that I kind of did a test run, I am going to show you guys what I figured out. In the middle of the whole polishing, waxing situation, I've learned what has worked for me, for what products that I have, and the paint that I have. The lack of, let's say. So I'm done with this panel. Well, I pretty much done with it. This panel right here is going to be the panel I'm going to show you guys what is working for me. I am not a detail shop. Go watch other detailing professional YouTube videos on how to do this, but I'm just going to show the things that I learned. I did clay bar that. Go watch another video on how to do that. I'm not going to show taping it because it's pretty simple, but it's going to look just like that when it's done taping, right? All around there. The panel is taped. Now I'm going to take spray away glass cleaner and just, it's already washed, but just want to make sure there's no dirt on there. Pretty clean, but there was a little bit of dirt on there, so that's always good. Now the next step is to use the Ultra Cut. I got it in this jar because I broke the jug, and this is Meguiar's 105. Now this pad I've used for the whole car, most of the car today, and this is how much that I put on. This is extremely important. So this is what's working for me. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, but I'll tell you what, the amount of material here that you put on can make or break what happens from my experience on this car only. So that's how much I put on. Now what I do is I have that pad on there and I just kind of do one of these, and I don't do a crazy huge section, but I try and disperse a very, very light amount evenly on the area. This is about the biggest of a section. This is hard to explain, but you just, if you've ever used an orbital sander on wood, that's exactly how I'm treating it. I have it on setting 3. Pretty much like buff the polish in, or buff the compound into the material. It kind of goes away, and that's what you want. So let's see if I can even see anything. So now after that one little pass, I've learned that if I do this at about that amount of time, which seems often, but it's working for me, I'll blow this off like this. So what I'll do is I'll just blow it off like this. You can see where there was compound that it turned the pad blue again. I'll do that around the whole pad. I'll repeat that process right now. That has the polish on it. I did not wipe it off. It's just for time savings. And then this, I'll do this portion of the panel right here all the way across, and then I'll do this bottom portion. So there'll be 3 hits with cleaning the pad. The reason why I'm cleaning the pad so often is I found, because this paint is, this Metal Flake single stage silver paint is so dirty, it's why the pad's black. Now that this is all the compound and it's been, I use the polisher there, I'll take a little bit of water, and I'm talking just barely a small amount of water. I'll just buff that compound off of there. Now that the compound, the higher cutting compound is completed and I cleaned off the side, now I'm going to use the polishing fine foam, this one's yellow from Bauer, pad here. Switch that, and then I got the Meguiar's 205, which is more of a fine polish. So I'll do the exact same thing that you just saw, just do it again with this. I'm not going to show it. Now that all the water and polish is wiped away, I have just, this is just like a liquid Caranuba wax. I had it for years. So I just put a little bit on a rag, and then I mean, if, you know, a lot of people know how to wax a car, but you just polish it in just like that, and I leave it kind of thick on there. Okay, this panel has been drying with the wax on it for, I don't know, 15-20 minutes, and then I'll just buff this off, and the wax will come off real easy. It won't smear around. It'll come right off, and that's when you know it's ready. And you just buff the whole thing.